We celebrate today, the second Sunday after Pascha, the memory of the holy myrrh-bearing women and also those secret disciples of Christ who came to him by night. And this is a message of great hope, especially for us who live in a world of seeming degeneration and apostasy. There's a story in the third book of Kingdoms, it's called in English the first book of Kings, of the prophet Elijah, who was fleeing the authorities at that time, and he had completely lost all hope in the people of God, so much so that he pleaded with God and asked him to take him. He says, "Please let me die," thinking that he was the only person remaining in Israel who was still faithful and still zealous for God, that all others had bowed the knee to Baal and fallen into idolatry and had betrayed the Lord. And the Lord calls him up to Mount Horeb, and there first he encounters a great wind, but God was not in the wind, and then after a great earthquake, and God was not in the earthquake, and then a great fire, but God was not in the fire, and then finally comes this still small voice where the prophet encounters the Lord. And God assures him that not only is he not the only one who has remained faithful to God, but he says, "I have 7,000 people left in Israel who have not bowed the knee to Baal, but who have remained faithful to me." And we see the same thing in today's feast, where after the death of Christ, his disciples, almost all of them, have scattered. All of them have disappeared. All of them have fled, either out of fear, either out of a loss of faith, whatever the reason. And it's only the figures, these silent figures who don't have any dialogue in the New Testament, who don't speak, who come in the silence of the night and who take the body of Christ, who prepare him for burial, and place him in a tomb, and then on the day of the resurrection go to the tomb to find him. These myrrh-bearing women and these disciples who came to Christ by night, these voiceless people who move in silence, these were the only ones who had the courage and the faith required to prepare the Lord for his burial and also to seek him after his resurrection, because it was a very dangerous thing what they were doing. And it shows us that even in our days, when the world seems to be going in a direction that is contrary to the will of God, and society around us seems to be dissolving, and not only society outside of the church but also within the church. And speaking as a member of the clergy, I'm sure that many of you will often be scandalized by the lack of virtue that we, or let me speak only for myself, that I display, and that we lack even the basic virtues that are becoming of a priest of God. But even then, even when the church even internally seems to be decaying, know that at every single moment we have these voiceless, silent people who move quietly among us, that still small voice, that where Elijah encountered God, it exists in the church at every moment in time, and not only in the monasteries and in the deserts and on Mount Athos, but even in the simple parishes of London and elsewhere. We have virtuous people and even saintly people, and you don't notice them because they don't speak and they don't stand out. They don't dress differently. They've got normal families. They've got normal jobs. They live normal lives. But they are these still small voices, these invisible and voiceless people who move in the silence of prayer and in the quiet of humility. And it's by virtue of these people that the world continues. And the fact that the world still continues is evidence, is proof that those people are still among us. And even when it seems like everyone has scattered, everyone has betrayed God, everyone has fallen short of the mark, we should take great courage in the fact that those people exist everywhere around us, and they are much more numerous than we may think. And those of us who hear the confessions of people, we can attest to the fact that there is a lot of sanctity, even in parish life, that we would otherwise be completely unaware of. And these are the people who, when the world and when the church is tested over the ages, these are the people who remain. These are the people who show courage. These are the people who will stand up for the truth, not through earthquake, not through fire, not through great storms, but through their still small voice and their quiet and humble faithfulness to the gospel of and the love of Jesus Christ. So this feast should be a reminder to us that when we're tempted to lose hope or to think negatively about the world around us and to be filled only with criticisms and with negative judgments about the world, know that there are many Myrrh-bearers and many Josephs and Nicodemoses who move around us, and it's by virtue of their prayers and their humility and their love and their quiet and their silence and their peace that the church remains and that the gates of hell will not prevail against it.